Nobody wakes up one day and decides, today I'm going to cut my mom, my dad, my brother out of my life. It doesn't happen like that. It happens after years. Years of trying, of giving in, of crying in the bathroom where no one can see, of pretending everything's fine at Sunday lunch. And even then, when the person finally decides to step away, the whole world points a finger. How could you do that to your family? As if family, just by being family, could never be wrong. As if blood canceled out pain. But what if blood is precisely the source of it? If you identified with this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and follow along with me here. What outsiders see is simple. Someone who no longer shows up at family gatherings, who doesn't answer calls, who spent Christmas at home, alone, or with friends they chose, who replies to messages days late, if they reply at all, who created a parallel life where the family surname barely appears. From the outside, it looks like coldness. It looks like ingratitude. It looks like selfishness disguised as self-preservation. People comment among themselves. I don't know what happened to him. She was always difficult. After everything we did. But behaviors are rarely what they seem on the surface. And this one, especially, has roots much deeper than any quick judgment can reach. What looks like abandonment on the outside is almost always survival on the inside. The immediate emotion of someone who breaks a family tie is not relief, at least not at first. It's guilt. It's a weight that doesn't go away. It's waking up at 3 in the morning thinking, what if I was wrong? What if I'm the problem? What if 10 years from now I regret this? It's seeing an old photo and feeling that strange mix of longing and pain that has no proper name. Something that tightens your chest without warning, on a normal day, out of nowhere. There's a brutal psychological tension in loving someone and at the same time, knowing that being close to that person destroys you inside. These two things coexist, and they truly coexist at the same time, in the same body, in the same mind, in the same heart that still remembers the good moments and can't simply erase them. It's not that the person stopped loving. In many cases, it's precisely because they love that it hurts so much. Love doesn't disappear. It just starts to hurt in a different way. More silently, harder to explain to outsiders. Here's where it gets more interesting. Beneath the guilt, there's a fear. A specific fear that most people never quite name clearly. The fear that, by stepping away, the person is confirming what was always said about them. That they're difficult, that they're too sensitive, that they never knew how to value what they had, that they're selfish, that, deep down, they were always the problem. There's also the fear of being alone, that if family doesn't serve as a safe harbor, then no safe harbor exists at all. Because family is, culturally, the only place where you theoretically belong without needing to earn it, without needing to prove anything, without needing to perform. And when that place hurts more than it protects, the person enters a silent collapse. Because the problem isn't just the relationship. It's the entire idea of belonging that crumbles along with it. It's the narrative we build from childhood, that family is synonymous with home, which suddenly no longer holds up. And that's terrifying in a way that goes far beyond a single argument or a specific grievance. There's a psychological need at the heart of all this, and it's much simpler than it seems. The need to be seen. Truly. Not the role you fulfill in the family. Not the version that's convenient for the group dynamic. Not the son who never complains. The daughter who always gives in. The brother who solves everyone's problems. You, the real person. With your contradictions, your choices, your limits, your changes. Many families function as closed systems. Each member has a role. The responsible one. The rebel. The sensitive one. The one who never complains, the one who always needed attention. And as long as everyone stays in their roles, the system works. There's an order, a predictability, a false harmony that everyone, consciously or not, works to maintain. But when someone grows beyond the role they were given, the system resists. Sometimes with anger, sometimes with emotional blackmail, sometimes with that cold silence that says more than any words. And this resistance can take very subtle forms. Comments that diminish, silences that exclude, comparisons that shame, conditional love that says, without using words, You're only welcome here if you're who we want you to be. If you go back to your role. If you stop questioning. If you swallow it one more time. Breaking the tie often isn't rejecting the family. It's refusing that invisible contract that was never signed freely and willingly. This doesn't start with you. It almost never starts with you. The relational patterns a family carries have been built over generations. Ways of loving that actually hurt. Ways of protecting that suffocate. Ways of communicating that wound unintentionally, sometimes intentionally. And that were learned from parents, who learned from grandparents, who learned from those who came before them, in a long chain of unresolved pain and inherited silences. Nobody is born knowing how to hurt. Most people who hurt others were hurt before. This doesn't justify everything, but it explains a lot. And the person who decides to break a family tie is often doing exactly what no previous member of that lineage had the courage or awareness or ability to do. They are interrupting a cycle, paying a price that shouldn't be theirs to pay, but which, if they don't pay it, will continue to be passed down. From generation to generation, in different forms, but with the same pain at its root. This is, at the same time, very lonely and very necessary. It's a silent act of courage that the world rarely recognizes as such. I believe that breaking family ties is one of the most misunderstood acts in human psychology. And the reason for that is simple. We were taught that family is sacred, that blood is thicker than water, that in the end, family is all you have, that you can fight, you can get hurt, but ultimately, family is family. These ideas have value. They hold truth within them, but they can also become prisons when used to silence legitimate pain. Because there's a fundamental difference between family as origin and family as destiny. You didn't choose where you came from. You didn't choose the name, the house, the patterns, the wounds that were planted in you before you even had words to describe them. But you can, with great difficulty and great pain, choose where you're going, who you want to be, what kind of relationships you want to build from now on. Someone who breaks a family tie is rarely seeking loneliness. They are seeking integrity. They are trying to discover who they are when they're not carrying the weight of expectations from an entire system that was built long before they existed. Sometimes, stepping away is the only true gesture of love that remains. Love for oneself. And, strangely, also for the family. Because maintaining a relationship that only produces pain on both sides is not loyalty. It's a slow way of postponing the inevitable while everyone suffers together, without anyone being able to name exactly why. There's no right answer here. There's no formula. There's no path that works for everyone. What exists is a life that is yours, with your specific wounds, your specific history, your needs that only you can feel inside, and that no external judgment will ever fully grasp. And if you've made it this far, perhaps it's because you carry some version of this pain. Perhaps you're in the midst of this decision. Perhaps you've already made it and are still trying to make peace with it. Or perhaps you know someone who went through this and never quite knew how to understand. In any case, what I know is this: you are not wrong for feeling what you feel. You are not cruel for needing distance. And you don't need to explain yourself to anyone who has never been inside your story. That, in itself, is enough.